Alright, picture this. You boot up a new game, and 5 minutes in, you're not even playing. You're just spinning the camera around, zooming in on raindrops sliding down a character's face like it's an Oscar-worthy drama. We've all been there. Sometimes a game doesn't just look good, it sucker punches your eyeballs with sheer graphical glory. You pause the action just to whisper, how is this even real? And that's exactly what we're diving into today. These aren't just pretty games, they're the ones that broke the internet. You know, the jaw droppers, the frame rate destroyers, the screenshots, so good your PC felt, self-conscious kind of game. From open world stunners that feel like digital postcards, to horror games that look so real you consider turning the lights back on, this list is packed with titles that didn't just push the limits, they obliterated them. Some launched with hype so massive they crashed servers. Others came out of nowhere and had the internet screaming, okay, now this is next gen, so buckle up, because whether you're into racing through photoreal deserts, swinging through ultra-detailed cities, or staring into a boss's beautifully rendered eyeball before they one-shot you. These are 20 next-level high-end graphics games that broke the internet. Let's get started. Your graphics card might not forgive you, but your eyes will thank you. Surprise! The horror thriller Alan Wake 2 might be on this list, but for good reason. Remedy Entertainment dialed everything up, and the graphics are shockingly next-gen. The game runs on Remedy's Northlight engine with ray tracing, path tracing, and tons of special effects. Tech sites gushed, Alan Wake 2 looks fantastic. Main characters look gorgeous, especially in cutscenes where Remedy's facial rendering quality is among the best we've ever seen. In plain talk, this game is stunning. It's creepy real. Imagine walking through a pitch-black forest while a flashlight reveals every leaf detail in 4K, or standing in moonlight at a deserted gas station, watching your own reflection eerily appear in puddle. Textures are supremely crisp. You can see the grit in gravel, the weave of someone's sweater, or the tiny drops on a spiderweb. Environments change from suburban neighborhoods, complete with hyper-real shadow play under streetlights, to nightmarish otherworld dimensions filled with fireflies and swirling fog, all with RTX enabled if you have the GPU muscle. Remedy's commitment is visible in the character models too. Alice, Alan, and other main characters have nuanced facial animation, a twitch of an eye, a smeared tear, all captured lifelike. In game debates and marketing, fans even said Alan Wake 2 is the most visually impressive game I've ever seen. It's gritty and bloody at times, but boy does it look rich. The devs even included cross-cutting long cinematic shots, think movie-length flashbacks, that rival actual films. When Alan Wake 2 launched, the online response focused on its terrifying gorgeousness. Horror fans posted side-by-side shots of the 2010 original versus this new one, and the difference was night and day, pun intended. Every firelight in a diner, every neon sign flicker, every gust of wind, astoundingly real. The phrase photorealistic nightmare caught on. In short, Remedy knocked it out of the park, not just scaring players, but stunning them with visual. The internet was awash with praise. It's basically another Crysis, but spooky, said some enthusiasts. If you wanted to break the net, Alan Wake 2's release certainly helped with its blend of horror and high-end tech. Get ready to jack into Cyberpunk 2077, Night City's neon-soaked insanity. This long-awaited RPG from CD Projekt Red pushed PCs and consoles to the limit. Think rain-drenched city streets lit by a million holograms and ray-traced reflections. Even after its rocky launch, one thing's undeniable. Cyberpunk's visuals are jaw-dropping. The 2023 2.0 update even upped the ante with advanced ray tracing, and NVIDIA's DLSS 4 aiming to make Cyberpunk the new Crysis. In short, it made the future look real, from neon-lit skyscrapers to gritty alleyways. The city's lifelike lighting, pop-pin glass shaders, and insane detail had fans and reviewers gasping. Every frame feels like a science fiction movie scene. Just look at Cyberpunk's night scenes, vibrant holographic billboards, slick, wet streets reflecting signs and traffic. Gigantic digital skies stretch over the metropolis. Whether zooming in on a character's face or squinting at a far-off skyline, the game's textures and effects pop. And with the Ray Reconstruction DLSS feature, those shadowed alleyways suddenly look smoother and more believable. It's a feast for the eyes, especially on PC with an RTX 50 series GPU. While gameplay drama stole headlines, the graphics scene was a win. Cyberpunk's bold cityscapes and cutting-edge lighting had the internet buzzing. Gamers shared screenshots of jaw-dropping night vistas and rain-illuminated city block. When friends ask why this game made headlines, just point them to a Cyberpunk 2077 trailer and watch their eyes widen. It literally broke the internet with its hype, showing off next-gen tech and an ultra-realistic world that pushed every GPU to the brink. Finally, cap off this list with pure spine-tingling beauty. Dead Space, 2023, the modern remake of a sci-fi horror legend. Motive Studio rebuilt the USG Ishimura in fresh, terrifying detail. The original's claustrophobic corridors and dim interiors are faithfully recreated and amplified with dynamic lighting. In practice, that means every console hum, every shadowy corner and blood-smeared wall is lit in real time to maximize dread, and the graphics are wickedly immersive. Take an engineering deck on zero gravity. Floating debris and sparks lit by your flickering flashlight look uncannily real. The metallic walls show peeling paint and drilled holes where necromorphs lurk. Crucially, lighting is the star here. They added volumetric fog, shafts of light through vents, and flickering fluorescent fixtures that cast dancing shadow. In one Digital Foundry breakdown, they noted the lighting improvements make the atmosphere more ominous, with RT shadows and fog amping the fear factor. The graphics engine is current gen, RTX ray tracing, advanced particle sims, and 8K scale textures. Little touches pop. Isaac's holographic helmet shade splashes light around, and each necromorph ragdoll has graphic gory detail, guts and all, that make your skin crawl. On top of that, the remake uses PS5's SSD so that even sudden new corridor sections load seamlessly, maintaining that terrifying momentum without jarring pauses. When it released, horror fans could hardly contain excitement. Social feeds lit up with "Dead Space never looked so good" screenshots. Twitter and Discord channels echoed with screenshots of Isaac holding his plasma cutter under a single flickering bulb, and people were stunned by the realism. The remake felt next-gen. VR enthusiasts and sci-fi lovers alike exclaimed that it brought horror graphics into 2023. Bottom line, Dead Space Remake is the scariest, best-looking claustrophobic adventure in years. Capcom's recipe of tight corridors and horrifying creatures now comes served on a plate of top-tier graphics. It's the kind of game that made even folks who hate horror say, "Just one more screenshot, please." The lighting and artistry here are so good, players have called every shadowy hallway a work of art. It may have left us sleeping with the lights on, but after experiencing these visuals, you'll agree. Dead Space has never been so viscerally, photorealistically nightmarish. Kojima's Death Stranding. Director's cut on PS5 and later PC is a visual stunner in a hauntingly beautiful way. The post-apocalyptic Americana it portrays is chillingly real. Mountains rise beneath sweeping skies, raining or sunlit. Barren landscapes have hyper-real rocks and grass. Neon signs flicker in decayed cities. The director's cut didn't revamp the core game's art much, but it polished it to PS5 shine. In fact, Digital Foundry noted that on PC, the default settings now match the PS5's enhanced visuals, pushing draw distances and effects. Walking through the world, you'll notice crisp textures everywhere. Norman Reedus's poncho and equipment gear looks super detailed, his breath visible in cold air. Water, especially, looks phenomenal. Streams flow with accurate reflections, and rain showers dance across Sam's suit realistically. The lighting engine does wonders. It casts long, realistic shadows from cargo boxes and BT ghostly glows across dim landscapes. Holographic UCA messages dissolve in air. In night scenes, every small light source, streetlights, vehicles, has proper volumetric bloom and cast glows. The hype was mostly about the new missions and features, but visually fans marveled at the elevated fidelity. On PC, testers could crank up ray tracing, DLSS 3, and further push frames, and they marveled at how smooth it could be with all the extras on. Reviewers said each time you reach a high cliff in Death Stranding, it makes your jaw drop. The game calls them out-of-Stranding scenes for a reason. And people online took to sharing their best screenshots. A HUDless Sam looking across a bridge at sunrise, or a truck parked under an aurora-lit sky. Ultimately, Director's Cut might not have completely broken the internet with graphics, since the base game was already stunning, but it solidified Death Stranding's status as a photorealistic art piece. After all, when a game world looks this believable, even non-players stare. Tweets said things like, "Never thought I'd see a game where walking feels cinematic," and forums agreed. Kojima's team made an experience you could pause and admire, thanks to those gorgeous PS5 enhancements. Arcane Lion's Deathloop adds style to substance. Imagine 60s Spy-Fi meets roguelike, and you have a game dripping in visual panache. Every corner of its coastal island setting is saturated with color and detail. Vibrant Art Nouveau architecture and zany neon signs create a unique vibe, like living inside a Wes Anderson film on psychedelics. Think sun-dappled offices, glimmering pool parties with explosions in the background, or jungle streams shaded by tropical foliage. The game engine pushes 4K textures with eye-popping clarity. Characters wear sharp vintage costume, wool jackets, silk dresses with realistic folds, and even the early 60s polished car finishes glow in the sun. Heat distortion, shimmering gunshot trails, and explosive special effects like Colt's shift skill whooshing trails look incredible. Ambient lighting is dynamic. Daytime has cast shadows moving with the sun, and nighttime scenes pulse with neon and gunfire glows. Critics and players noted Deathloop's visuals were as stylish as its gameplay. That co-op twist mechanic in multiplayer, seeing another assassin's silhouette on rooflines, looked like something out of a high-res comic book panel. The devs even had time to implement some ray tracing on PC, RT shadows and reflections, for glossy floors and water puddles, which natively catapulted it into looking next-gen talk. By release, streams and tweets celebrated every trick shot under Deathloop's bright sun. Yes, people enjoyed the clever gameplay loops, but equally they'd post a photo of the game's art direction. It got internet shoutouts for cinematic set pieces. While it wasn't the loudest graphics showcase on this list, Deathloop still broke the internet of gameplay nerds who also have an eye for style. It's proof that a game can look fun, fashionable, and high-end all at once, and leave you humming jazz because the visuals made you feel you were in a 1960s movie about time loop assassins. Bluepoint Games rebooted a classic into a PS5 launch stunner. Demon's Souls on PS5 turned a decade-old game into a breathtakingly gorgeous experience. Every boss fight and cathedral feels like a living painting. The gothic castles, misty swamps, and bone-crushing castles are now dripping in detail. Sunlight breaks through clouds and hits wet stone. Every raindrop and dust particle rendered in 4K clarity. Walking through Boletaria's ruins feels surreal. The engine uses PS5's SSD to pop in geometry seamlessly. Walls, enemies, and jaw-dropping vistas appear without pop-in. You can actually see the tiny dents in knight armor, the cracks on demon horns. In the foggy Marble Hornets area, volumetric lighting slashes through windows onto the Grand Hall, highlighting every dust mote. Bluepoint's touch means the original game's moody atmosphere is intact, but now the flickering torchlight and rain-blurred camera really sell the horror. IGN summed it up. Thanks to PS5's power, Demon's Souls not only plays smoothly, but looks breathtakingly gorgeous. In practice, that means you might have said wow mid-battle as the boss's fireball hammers a knight's shield, sparks bouncing and scattering in hyper-realistic detail. Casual players and speedrunners alike paused to share screenshots on social media. The lighting in Latria's chapel, the waves on the seaside, the detail on armor, everyone agreed it was drop-dead gorgeous. Skipping through levels was like watching a fantasy movie in motion. The hype was real. Even people who don't usually follow Souls games talked about the visual. PlayStation's showcase trailers made headlines, and each reveal clip had fans pausing to admire the scenery. In short, Demon's Souls proved that remakes can be not just nostalgic, but next-level eye candy. It broke the internet in 2020 by setting a new bar for how epic a fantasy horror world can look on console. The latest in the legendary RPG series, Final Fantasy XVI, isn't just playing on a powerful console, it's looking like a blockbuster movie. The official PR even touts its stunning graphics, and it delivers. Every cutscene is rendered to Hollywood level. Expect lavish details. Sun-drenched castles with billowing banners, colossal titans wreathed in fiery auras, and medieval cities bustling with life, all dripping in high-res textures. Character models are jaw-dropping too. Heroes and villains alike have expressive faces and armor that gleams realistically under torchlight. The game uses complex cloth physics so capes flutter and skirts sway like in real life. Battle effects are explosive. Swords clanging create dynamic sparks and shockwaves. Magic spells ripple through the air with particle showers. Remember the famous FFXV water physics? FF16 went even further with wet surfaces reflecting sky and geometry perfectly. Square Enix built this in Unreal Engine 5, pushing frame rates and lighting. They applied it to make landscapes that gamers rave about. Cinematic camera angles sweep across battlefields, letting you see every glint of metal and drop of rain. Critics at launch said they literally took screenshots every 2 seconds. One tweeted, "FF16 looks so real I forgot it's a game." And that sentiment spread fast. Beyond sheer fidelity, FF16's presentation is moody and artful. Its darker fantasy tone meant lots of shadowy dungeons and flame-lit halls, and the developers leaned into that. The balance of shadow and light is masterful. Corridors glow eerily with real-time global illumination, while open fields explode in golden sunlight. Fans online praised how it exceeds expectations for PS5 visuals after years of waiting. Simply put, Final Fantasy XVI dropped at the top of this gen's graphics ladder. It's a parade of textures, particles, and pyrotechnics that feels like the game is saying, "See what our hardware can do?" Pretty much every screenshot became a poster. The buzzword was photo-real anime. It looked like the game consumed the source material and gave it a lifelike glow. In the years 2020 to 2025, FF16 took fantasy visuals to cinematic heights. Rev your engines because Forza Horizon 5 turned racing into a visual festival. Set in a massive open-world Mexico, Horizon 5 is an open-world visual delight. The map is 50% bigger than before, featuring scorching deserts, lush jungles, and even an active volcano. Every biome is photorealistic. Golden wheat fields swirl in the wind, tropical rainstorms drench the jungle floor, and ancient Mayan temple ruins peek through the mist. One reviewer gushed it felt like driving through 11 unique biomes. Graphics-wise, this is playground for the latest GPUs. Cars are ultra-detailed. Glossy paint jobs mirror the environment, even the blazing sun or stormy sky, and you can count every hundredth of a second of blur at 60 frames per second. Tire tracks dig into mud, puddles form in low spots, leaves and flowers realistically crush under your wheel. The lighting is dynamic. Race in the golden sunset and marvel at how shadows dance, or plow through a thunderstorm and see volumetric clouds reflect on your hood. Horizon 5 also added global illumination and advanced weather tech, making environments pop. A favorite trick, 4K HDR TVs light up when you play, giving an almost surreal brightness. Drive a red sports car across a sandy beach and watch the sun gleam perfectly off the hood. Photographers in the community couldn't help but capture jaw-dropping shots. One Horizon 5 picture with a jungle backdrop and sunlight filtering through palm fronds got shared everywhere. The buzz was real. Streamers raved about the scenery and fans said it looked even better than expected. Many folks logged dozens of hours just cruising and soaking in the sights. In 2021, Forza Horizon 5 felt like a celebration of world beauty with a joystick, and RTX stunners, with fans proclaiming best graphics in a game this year, while posting screenshot after screenshot. It didn't literally break the internet, but it sure broke expectations for how breathtaking a racing game can look. The brand new Forza Motorsport Reboot 2023 finally switched to a cutting-edge game engine, and with it came some jaw-dropping car graphics, though it had a rough launch. This sim racing title runs in 4K and 60 frames per second on consoles, with ultra-realistic cars and tracks. The paint jobs on these cars are so detailed, you might believe your TV is actually showing a Ferrari. Each vehicle's body reflects the environment perfectly. Look in a car's mirror and see the garage tools and overhead lights. It's that accurate. There's built-in ray tracing for reflections, making the visuals gleam when indoors and outdoors. On racetracks, like a neon-lit night circuit, the cars reflect the rain-soaked asphalt and surrounding lights with stunning clarity. Surroundings matter too. Las Vegas sunsets, forest tracks, or city backdrops all have dynamic skies and accurate shadows. The result at its best was images of cars glistening with dozens of light sources reflecting on them. PC enthusiasts cheered that engines, tires, and even brake glow looked film quality. Despite initial performance issues when Forza Motorsport got its updates, like RT Global Illumination added later, players shared videos of cars so shiny and environments so detailed that commentators called it one of the most realistic racing games ever. It became common to see side-by-side shots of GT sports cars in real life versus in-game, and they looked nearly identical. A true next-level comparison. Fans on social media took note. Look at that detail. In-game screenshots of the McLaren or Porsche was a frequent comment. At launch on both Xbox Series X and PC, players were shocked by how good the sunshine reflected off every ridge of a car. Forza Motorsport 2023 may not have been an internet meme factory, but it set a new benchmark for photoreal car visuals in the sim racing world, showing just how far we've come from polygonal cars of the past to these eye-popping beauties on screen. Kratos is back, and oh boy, did Santa Monica pack some serious visuals into God of War Ragnarok. Think epic Norse worlds, all rendered in stunning detail. Rock Paper Shotgun described it as a generous, gorgeous action adventure, elevated by its incredible cinematography and animation. Each icy mountain range and fiery realm is awe-inspiring. The game's environments are breathtaking. You'll walk through snow-draped forests where every pine needle and falling snowflake shows off the PS5's power. Firelit caves cast dramatic shadows on the walls of the Lake of Nine. The realms of Hell and Muspelheim glow with elemental fury. Polyphony designed striking lighting, a sunset lit by the Nine Realms' weird constellations, golden dusk on rolling plains. Mine is truly photoreal. Textures are next level. Kratos' rune-etched armor catches the flame light realistically. Atreus' leather tunic crinkles in the wind. Wood grain detail on docks and boats is so crisp you could count the rings. The animation is fluid. Cinematic camera moments make you feel like you're in a movie, especially the boss fights with Leviathan axe effects and magical runes swirling. Fans went wild during the reveal. Screenshots of Kratos facing a storm goddess battle or the shattering ice underfoot circulated with comments like, "the best looking God of War yet." It was hard not to pause and admire every scene. In interviews, devs said they used PS5's ray tracing for reflections on Kratos' axe, and even eye reflections in cutscenes. Reviewers noted frame rate toggle modes, 60 FPS on PS5, letting it all run smooth. Gamers, especially on PC, Ragnarok finally hit PC in 2024. Posted benchmarks showing max settings still ran beautifully. All in all, Ragnarok delivered visuals worthy of myth. It wasn't explosive internet news, but Norse fans did break the net by collectively going, "Damn!" at gameplay streams. The combined realism of ice, fire, and magical effects made every swing of the axe a visual pun, and it left players cheering for the graphics as much as the epic story. Polyphony Digital's Gran Turismo 7 is essentially automotive eye candy. The devs went wild on detail. Paintwork, carbon fiber, chrome. Every surface catches light authentically. Eurogamer noted that GT7's ray tracing is a game changer for the cars, as vehicles now reflect their environments and even each other. If you've ever marveled at a shiny car in real life, GT7 nails that effect. Walk around a car and its body mirrors the showroom or track, the sky. Everything. The attention to realism runs deep. GT7 accurately simulates multi-layer paint finishes. One of the Digital Foundry team wrote about how the game layer's base color, metallic flakes, then a clear coat finish, and that's why cars in GT7 look so accurate. The result? A Ford GT or Lamborghini on screen can look so authentic you'd swear it was photo mode in real life. Headlights cast realistic beams and taillights glow with proper scattering. Even the environments are stunning. Tracks like the famous Nürburgring or Neon City Circuit are rendered with photogrammetry quality details. Trees sway in the wind, surfaces are rich in texture, and rainwater on track reflects neon signage with accuracy. Day-to-night transitions are glorious too. Watch a sunset drive where the asphalt glistens just right as your sun visor shadows the dash. GT7 also had an amazing photo mode, and the community took full advantage. Thousands of ultra-real shots of their custom rides and scenic backdrops filled online galleries. People joked, "I spent more time capturing my car than actually racing." When Polyphony said it was a visual showcase, the demo comparisons proved it. No wonder players were calling it one of the most realistic driving games ever. In short, Gran Turismo 7 looks like the future of racing sims. It didn't break the internet in a meme way, but it blew minds in the racing community. Every rev and roar has the gleam to match. Gamers flexed about hitting 4K/60+ with RT on, and the stunning visuals certainly gave the PS5 one of its proudest moments at launch. The Halo series returned in 2021 with Halo Infinite, and it aimed to impress with a huge open-world ring to explore. Master Chief's ring world looks magnificent when viewed from the skies. Lush forest by alien lakes, and distant waterfalls cascading off the rim. Microsoft touted the Series X's power in enabling a massive 4K world. Infinity delivered about that. While it had some trade-offs, dynamic resolution tricks, and a 60 FPS cap, the detailed environments and art design still amazed many. Graphics highlights. The day-night cycle bathes the iconic Halo landscape in golden dawns and ominous reds at sunset. The armored Spartans gleam with polished visor reflections, and vehicles like the Warthog rip through vegetation with dynamic particle effects. Huge battles cascade with realistic projectile trails and explosion debris. The engine's lighting can turn even a rainy battlefield into a spectacle, with each beam of light piercing through storm clouds. Tech Press confirmed that, on high settings, Halo Infinite on PC held a solid 60 frames per second at crisp resolutions. Gamers with high-end rigs applauded the crisp output at 4K experience. Many called it easily the best-looking Halo yet, noting even replays had perfectly captured anti-aliasing and effects. Fans hopped onto Xbox and PC to stream every update, and some cool shots of Master Chief standing on mountaintops with ring-lit skies went viral. While it might not have quite the same graphical shock as other big 2021 releases, Halo Infinite nonetheless impressed with its sweeping vistas and character model. Its tech meant the ring looked more alive and seamless than ever. Multiplayer arenas also got spruced up with particle spells, grenades leaving streaks of light, and Riku variant armor sets had shiny chrome and cloak effects. So yes, in the hype of Xbox Series X launch, Halo Infinite subtly broke the internet of Halo fans who shared, "Holy cow, the ring looks amazing." It was a solid visual statement that Microsoft's new console generation was here, and Chief never looked cooler standing in front of those epic backdrops. Wizards and witches rejoiced when Hogwarts Legacy arrived, and its graphics cast a spell on players. The game's rendition of the wizarding world is lush and alive. The tech review concluded, "Hogwarts Legacy can impress in graphics," calling it better than most games out there. From the moment you step into the Grand Hall of Hogwarts, you're surrounded by gargantuan high-res tapestries, candlelit floating lights, and the nighttime astronomy tower gleaming with starlight. Each area is richly detailed. Inside Hogsmeade and Hogwarts Castle, wooden beams and stonework are sculpted with photoreal precision. The tiny scratches and moss on stones are visible. Outside, the Forbidden Forest's undergrowth rustles realistically, and you can see individual leaves on those enchanted trees. The climates vary too. Snowy grounds around Hagrid's hut perfectly accumulate on your cloak, while sunny castle grounds sparkle with high dynamic range light. Magic spells themselves look impressive. Cast a Lumos in a dark corridor and see dynamic light spread, or set fire with Incendio and watch flames flicker realistically on ancient wall. The physics on cloth and capes move naturally with wind, as you soar on broomsticks under the aurora-filled skies, adding to the immersion. Fans took an instant shine to the game's photo mode. Social media flooded with emerald green spell trails, majestic Quidditch stadium shots at sunset, and portraits of hippogriffs looking so detailed you'd think they were real creatures. People were literally calling it a Hogwarts simulator because every corridor and corridor looked textbook accurate. Weirdly, it was controversial in other ways, but one thing everyone agreed on was Hogwarts' look. Players described the game as pure magic in 4K. Even casual passersby paused during live streams to say, "Wow, that looks amazing." It may not have broken the internet with chaos or memes, but it definitely bewitched gamers with visuals so striking that fans snapped photos faster than Aloy can draw her bow. Aloy's sequel is a visual showstopper. Horizon Forbidden West took everything gorgeous in Zero Dawn and doubled it for PS5 and later PC. Imagine exploring lush jungles that sweep all the way to glowing underwater ruins. It's an open world that's astonishingly pretty, arguably one of the best-looking games ever. The game's complete edition on PC even drew praise for its graphics, with one reviewer gushing that it might be the most eye-arousing title they'd ever seen. From the moment you boot up Forbidden West, the detail hits you. Aloy's hair blows naturally in the breeze. Each leaf and tree is rendered with foliage you can practically count. Water shimmers with realistic caustics. The sun's rays slice through massive redwood trees, creating dappled light that dances on the ground. Towering robotic creatures with sleek chrome parts glow when hit by sunlight, and the advanced hair and fur rendering makes every animal encounter feel lifelike. Don't forget the sky and weather. Giant dynamic storms roll in, lightning flashes across the sky, and then breaks to reveal stars. The day-night cycle bathes the landscape in golden sunsets and moonlit blues. Between dazzling landscapes and Aloy's crisp character model, Forbidden West had PC and console gamers dropping jaws. When gamers say graphics porn, this is it. An environment so rich and alive, they're stopping mid-run just to snap in-game photos. Hype was real. When Forbidden West hit PC, streams lit up comparing setting, and fans couldn't stop praising how it hits so many boxes and visuals. Nix's Studios, the PC port team, delivered sky-high fidelity, high-res textures, and a ton of options. Bottom line, Horizon Forbidden West proved that open worlds can look absolutely breathtaking, keeping fans talking well after launch. Web slingers. Hold on to your hats. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 nearly doubles down on the eye candy. Insomniac took New York City to dazzling new heights. This sequel's city is bigger, and every brick, window, and street lamp is stunning. Eurogamer called it a new showcase for visual detail ray tracing on PS5, and it truly is. Swinging through Manhattan at night with RTX reflections on wet streets, and even dazzling reflections in Spidey's black symbiote suit, gives you chills. The city's skyline is alive. Daylight shots reveal incredibly detailed skyscraper textures, billboards that animate vividly, and clouds casting shifting shadows. At night, the city glows in HDR with neon taxi signs, traffic lights, and headlight trails all gleaming. Look at Sunset Swings, where warm light bounces off Peter's suit, or the glint off glass rooftops. It's insane. Every puddle mirrors the sky, buildings reflect one another. You can even see your reflection crawling up a wall crawl. Plus, transitions are seamless. Forget loading screens, a few frames diving from the Bronx into Queens, and the detail remains crisp. The SSD whips you between Spider-Man and Miles, showing off each character model in full fidelity. Their expressions and cutscenes are nuts. The boosted frame rate mode runs buttery on PS5, so all this beauty actually feels smooth even in combat. Unsurprisingly, the buzz was huge. Fans shared screenshots of Spider-Man perched between towering buildings bathed in sunlight. One viral tweet compared Spidey suits in sunlight versus nighttime glowing visuals, and everyone agreed the environments look next-gen. Trailers got millions of views, and threads about it trended whenever new dev diaries dropped. People said it showcased RTX and Spider-Man, and called New York the best render of NYC ever made. In sum, Spider-Man 2 came out swinging. Not only does it let you feel every movement in Spidey's dance, it also delivers the most detailed, vibrant city environment on a console to date. Meet the ultimate PS5 showcase, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. This dimensional hopping platformer isn't just a wild ride. It's a tech demo for the PS5's power. Instant world swapping between vibrant planets, sci-fi cities, and strange alien biomes. It feels like teleporting through Pixar. Critics called it Slick, big-budget visuals and buttery smooth performance. In plain talk, it looks amazing and runs like silk. From the opening, Rift Apart smacks you with color and detail. Extraterrestrial landscapes brim with neon signs, exotic plants, and oddball robots, all rendered in 4K at 60 frames per second. The particle effects when lasers fire or ships zoom past are crisp and plentiful. Take a ride on a hoverboard across a bustling skyway. Reflections ripple on Ratchet's chrome armor. Sunlight glints off wreckage, and when you blast obstacles, the sparks fly in real time. Even on PC, where it later launched, people noted how it remains a lovely way to push your hardware. Beyond its jaw-dropping environments, Rift Apart shows off Sony's fancy techniques. It uses hardware ray tracing for reflections and sharp shadows, plus clever SSD streaming to load entire worlds almost instantly. You'll fly through portals between realities without a loading screen, a magical feel that earlier games couldn't pull off. Imagine leaving the safety of your current world and instantaneously appearing in a vibrant new one. All mid-game, no delay. The internet went nuts for the graphics too. Fans shared mind-boggling comparisons between past and present Ratchet titles. Streamers exclaimed, "I've never seen a game this pretty," and screenshots went viral. Ultimately, Rift Apart proved PS5 was here to impress. It didn't just break the internet, it broke the idea of what console visuals could do, with colors so rich and action so smooth that you'd swear it was real-time animation. Remaking a classic, Capcom used the RE engine to make Resident Evil 4 look like it was built today. This one wasn't a flashy open world, but it made every scene pop. Creative Block summed it up. The lighting and texture work into the remake is excellent. Think about Leon racing through a dark cavern or a sunny Spanish village. Now imagine every shadow, stone wall crack, and flickering light rendered at ultra detail. From the moment the game drops you in a pitch-dark cave, camera glinting off damp rock, then into the bright farmland, you sense it's an entirely new engine. Character faces are extremely lifelike. Leon's leather jacket wrinkles realistically as he moves. Ashley's hair bounces. Environmental props, like barrels and debris, have fine detail, and there's loads of volumetric fog and muzzle flash effects during firefights. Even mundane tasks, lighting a path with a lighter or watching a lantern's glow, feel extra real. While many players talked about the revamped gameplay, just as many were gushing in forums about, "Holy heck, look at that graphics." Screenshots of the tiny lanterns lighting up a dusty attic went viral. Players joked they paused to admire his eyelashes. Yes, people were sharing in-game photos everywhere. It was photoreal enough that it felt eerie, which is exactly what RE4 has always been about. Capcom's smooth frame rate modes, up to 120 frames per second mode on PS5, let these visuals stay buttery as you pan the camera. In multiplayer and on PC, digital artists dissected how the remake's shadows and shaders bring out the moody horror vibe. In short, RE4 Remake didn't just update an old game, it set a new bar for what Capcom's engine can do. Fans have been calling it one of the prettiest games I've played, and it's given every shooter since a run for its money on graphics. Critics wrote words like, "realized to the full extent of its enormous potential," and fans echoed it, "Indeed, it's a gorgeous tour through terror." Capcom's Resident Evil Village is a spooky, beautiful blend of horror and high-fidelity tech. Village's world, from a snowy mountain village at twilight to a gothic castle dripping in architecture, is absolutely gorgeous. Rock Paper Shotgun nailed it by calling Village one of the best ray tracing games yet. What does that mean? Properly, that Windows PCs with RTX cards rendered its atmospheric lighting in real time. Flickering lanterns casting realistic shadows, icy floors reflecting characters, and terrifying creatures emerging from the dark with hair and fur so detailed you'll flinch. Picture yourself walking through a dimly lit hallway in Castle Dimitrescu. Sunlight slices through an ornate stained glass window, scattering rainbow prisms on the wall. Dust floats in the shaft of light. Every stone wall is textured and weathered. Or stand outside in a blizzard, watching breath puffs and snow swirl around you as a full moon bathes the woods in eerie light. The mix of chilling environments, a manor lit by candelabras, the bright monster on a boat-infested river, all look richly alive thanks to Capcom's RE engine. Surprisingly, Village added beloved photosensitivity and VR for the PSVR 2 later. But even in base, the console and PC cutscenes felt cinematic. Characters move and emote with realism. Thank Leon's tech improving over RE2 Remake. When the game arrived, tech critics highlighted its photoreal lighting. Even ignoring horror, gamers paused just to admire how light falls across cobblestones, or the detailed textiles on the Duke's coat. The hype train was steady. RE fans of old shared screenshots. "Look at this beauty," while sneaking around werewolf bathtubs. Demos at Xbox/PlayStation shows were trending content, with phrases like "pure nightmare porn," and I mean that in the best way, getting thrown around. Village didn't break the internet with memes, but it did fill up Reddit and Steam with visual praise. Capcom's insisting on realism paid off, making Village's dread as tangible as it is beautiful. From Software's Elden Ring might surprise you on this list. It's known as much for gameplay as looks, but its world design had players awestruck. The fantasy realm, the lands between, is sprawling and painterly. Rolling fields that lead to ominous castles, sweeping mountain vistas, and surreal floating islands. It's a constant postcard. One reviewer said, "The graphics are downright gorgeous," and he found himself constantly snapping pictures of locations and enemies. Starry skies peek through trees. When dusk falls, the light softens on marbled ruins, giving everything a mystical glow. Everywhere you look, backgrounds are meticulously detailed. Moss on ancient stone bridges, glowing runes on cave walls, wisps of fog trickling off distant cliffs. Each monster and boss is equally impressive, from shimmering spectral knights to grotesque dragons with slick scales. Even the smaller stuff, like the flame of a torch or the way grass bends as you walk, was lovingly crafted. Under the hood, it's still a Souls game, but this next-gen polish made it stand out graphically. The game runs smoothly at high fidelity, letting you roam its relentlessly beautiful world without noticing any art cuts. And with its theme of mystery, every frame begs a second look. The hype? Oh boy. Elden Ring got rave reviews and flooded Twitter with fans bragging about their favorite screenshots. Share counts soared for players posting epic scenes. One even 3D printed his favorite landscape. That statement from the Gaming Trend review crystallized the feeling. Reviewers and fans alike felt compelled to capture and share because the world looked that stunning. Elden Ring didn't just thrill action RPG fans. It mesmerized casual explorers with its gorgeous vistas, making Elden Ring scenery a trending topic on every gaming feed after release. And there you have it. 20 games so visually insane, they had us double-checking reality, and maybe our wallets. Some of these titles pushed consoles to their breaking point. Others made high-end PCs sweat harder than a boss fight on one hit point. But all of them, absolute visual bangers. Seriously, isn't it wild how far we've come? There was a time when water was just a blue texture and trees looked like green lollipops. Now, you've got dynamic shadows, real-time reflections, facial animations so detailed you can practically hear the thoughts behind the eyes. So here's a question. Which of these games made your jaw hit the floor? Or better yet, what game did we miss that made you say, this is peak gaming visuals? Let me know in the comments. Share your screenshots, brag about your rig, or maybe just confess that you too spent way too long in photo mode instead of actually playing. If you had fun, consider hitting that like button harder than a RTX 5090 hits your electric bill. And don't forget to subscribe for more gaming goodness, because we're just getting started. Until next time, keep your frame rates high, your resolutions higher, and never underestimate the power of a well-rendered puddle. Peace out.